Hey there, this is Sandra from the Schwowin's Nest, and today's video is a little different. This is my living room. It doesn't normally look this way, but my son just moved out into a condo and he took a bunch of furniture with him. So that gave me the opportunity to do an extreme living room makeover, and I'm so excited to share it with you. I'm using Pottery Barn as my inspiration for a lot of my projects and a lot of how I'm going to design this new living room space. But I also wanted to just do a major cleanup and just organize everything so it looks beautiful. The first area that I tackled was this space by the front door. This is a dumping ground. It's where we come in, we drop stuff, and I do have some decor in here. I got to change that out because it's just getting a little too cluttered for me. Once I had all the junk removed and I could start out with a clean slate, I gave this unit, which is a dry sink, and I picked this up off of Facebook Marketplace a while back. At the bottom, it has a huge cupboard, and that houses some of my larger kitchen appliances. At some point, I am going to also replace the knobs, but I just haven't gotten around to that yet. This piece was centered on the wall, but I decided to pull it all the way to the edge because I have one of those robotic vacuums and I need somewhere to charge it. It was always just sitting in front of this unit, but now I'll be able to tuck it into the corner and you won't even see it. I like to hang things in this corner, so I removed the star and that wooden sign for now anyway. And I'm going to be adding this little lavender print that I have. I got this as a sponsorship a couple of years ago. It's just been waiting for a spot to be hung. This wooden star has always lived in this corner, so I'm just moving it to the other wall. And I think the combination of the lavender with the white frame and the rustic star looks really nice. I'm just going to be adding a few pieces into the interior of this dry sink and adding things that I hadn't had there before. I wanted to switch it up just a little bit. This dry sink is one of my favorite furniture pieces. I've had it for over a year and still can't decide whether I want to paint it white or just leave the wood grain. So you guys let me know down in the comments. What do you think I should do with this? Should I paint it? Should I distress it? Should I just leave it the way it is? You let me know and then I'll decide what I'm going to do. I really like the look of this Pottery Barn little coffee table, and I'm only putting a love seat in my living room. So I wanted something that was a little smaller. And I went out to my garage and remembered that I had this slab of a live edge wood piece. And I thought that would be a perfect little coffee table for in front of my love seat. So I'm going to make it over and it's going to look similar to that Pottery Barn one that I showed you, but it's going to be a little bit different. Again, this is all just Pottery Barn inspired. You don't have to make things exactly the way they look on their websites, but you just work with what you've got. These legs came from some really old coffee tables. I saved them and I knew at some point I was going to be able to put them to good use. I'm just cleaning these legs with some crud cutter gloss off, and that just kind of dulls them down a little bit, really cleans them up. And this one is a no rinse formula. So I was really excited when I saw that at my local hardware store because I didn't want to have to worry about rinsing things. These legs already have the bolts sticking out at the top because they just screwed into the other piece on the old tables. But I had to figure out a way how to attach them to this wood. So the first thing I'm going to do is just measure out how far I want them in from the edge and then make the markings appropriately. Next, I'm going to take a drill bit, and I needed to use one that was a little bit smaller than the size of the bolt so it would screw in nice and tight. I also added some Gorilla Glue clear grip into the holes and at the bottom, so when the leg was screwed all the way in, it would have some extra security to hold it in place. My favorite color of stain to use is dark walnut. This is a gel stain, and I've only got a tiny little bit sitting down at the bottom, and it's got some chunks in it too. So I'm going to try it out, see how it works, and hopefully have enough to just cover the top of this one. And I'm using just a lint-free cloth to apply the stain. I don't like to use a brush, especially for a gel stain, simply because it could get on there a little too thick. I'd rather start with a lighter layer and then go a little bit darker if I need to. The gel stain was just enough for the top of this piece, so I switched over to my dark wax for this one, and I did have it watered down. It's in a liquid form anyway, but I wanted to just make sure that it was more of a stain rather than a really thick color. Once everything was completely dry, I sprayed it with some matte clear finish. I gave it a couple of coats. I'm not going to be putting anything really heavy or using this table very much. It's basically going to be for display. So I just thought a couple of coats of the spray matte clear would be just perfect. If you've been with me for a while on my channel, you'll know that I am not a gold person. So these little gold feet at the bottom need to get fixed up. And I started by putting the painter's tape on the gold and was just so clueless at this point. I just giggled to myself afterwards and thought, what a goofball. You want to paint this bottom part, not tape it up. So here I am ripping it off, and I'm going to start over and put the tape at the top on the wood portion, not on the gold. I'm always trying to use up different paints that I have in my stash, and this is an automotive paint, and I thought it would be perfect for metal. It's sort of like a hammered gray, really dark gray finish, so I'm just going to use that on the bottom pieces here. And once that's dry, this table is done, and I am so in love with how it looks. It doesn't have the shelf on the bottom like the Pottery Barn inspiration does, but I'm okay with that. I really love that this only cost me $10. This is a large clock project that I made last summer, and I had painted the wood pieces of the numbers to look galvanized. But when I hung it up on my living room wall, you couldn't really see the numbers very well. So I decided to just take a black marker and just color them black. And I like the way this looks so much better. They really stand out now. So this is a space in between the two tall windows that I have in my living room. And I've had this white shelf here for a really long time. And I love being able to display different things here. So I'm just going to take you along as I kind of add different things to this shelf and change things around and step back, take a look at it, see if I like it. I wanted to incorporate a little bit more of the darker wood colors and some green along with the whites that I usually use for my decor. What this shelf area looked like before I started this makeover, and this is what it looks like now. For the setup that I'm doing for my new living room, I'm going to be needing a little side table. This tray is upside down right now. You'll see it in a second. But if you watch my Pottery Barn inspired dupes from a while ago, this was inspired by a barrel tray that they had. So it's a really big tray. And with my new smaller coffee table, I'm not going to need it there. So I decided to grab these old table legs that I had in my stash, and I am going to just using hot glue and Gorilla Glue, glue them right onto this tray. I think it's going to be a fantastic little side table. I just marked them with a pencil, used some hot glue on the outside, and put a big glob of Gorilla Glue on the inside. And I'm adding quite a bit of pressure because I want to make sure that there's no gaps in between. And this seemed to work out really well. It actually worked better than the first table that I made with those legs. I probably should have used a little bit of hot glue there too, just to hold them in place while the Gorilla Glue had a chance to set. The final step for this table was just to finish the bottom because I never did before. And I'm just using, again, just that watered down antiquing wax in a dark brown color. You're not going to see the bottom very much, so it doesn't really matter if it doesn't match the front. But I'm using a big brush here to apply it, and then I'm going to use a rag just to wipe off the excess. Here's another look at what my living room looked like before I started this makeover. I had a sofa here before, as I said earlier, but now there's just stuff everywhere and it's got to get cleaned up.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed.
I'm absolutely in love with how my living room turned out. And if you like it too, and you like this type of content, let me know down in the comments because I've got a whole bunch of other things to do around the house and I'd love to share them with you too. Thanks for watching.